Fanatics, what's going on? Let me wait for a couple people to get in here. We live. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. I'll wait for you guys to get in the room. Give me a thumbs up when you guys are in. I'm on YouTube and on Facebook, in the Buffalo Fanatics Facebook YouTube channel, and on the Buffalo Fanatics Facebook page. So let me know when you guys are in the room. Give me some thumbs up. Say hi. Toss a shout out there. I want to talk about yesterday's game and obviously talk about some other stuff too. So let me know when you guys are in the room. I can't see how many viewers because it's simulcasting on YouTube and Facebook. I can see the comments, but I can't see how many people come across. So let me know when you guys are here, and we'll get started, and we'll go from there. What's up, Patrick? What's going on? Pete, what's up, dude? Aiden, what's going on, man? Charlie, Sam Mazza, what's going on? All right, so we'll get right into it. Just so everybody knows, the sky is not falling. Okay, now you're gonna get some personality out of me today because I'm kind of torn on where I should lead with this whole thing, but I feel as if, you know, we didn't get a fair assessment of Josh Allen yesterday. We really didn't. I don't think that it would be fair to judge him off of, 5 sacks, no time to throw, constant pressure, shifting pieces in on the offensive line. Deion Dawkins didn't play. So, it's not fair for us to say that we need to start Peterman. I'm going to get into more in depth on this stuff as a whole, because everybody knows my stance on Josh Allen. And big shout out to everybody. If you guys noticed my increased presence on the Buffalo Fanatics group, that's kind of my baby right now. So I'm going to try to get as much interaction from you guys because that's what I do it for. I do it for you guys. I do it for all the fanatics to kind of, just start conversations, just get things going, whether it be news, whether I throw some videos on there, whether it be, commenting on something, creating polls, seeing where you guys are located. It's all just to get more engagement from you guys, as the season's now upon us in less than 2 weeks. So it's going to be fun. And I'm doing that for you guys. I'm doing that for the fanatics. Because I love the interaction and I love being able to get to talk to you a lot of you guys, because a lot of you guys are spread out different countries across the United States. So everything that I'm doing in there is for you guys. So I just hope that you guys know that. So if you guys know me, you know that I wasn't a huge Josh Allen supporter when we drafted him. I thought that on the board at 7 we could have taken Rosen, and my QBs listed in order. I don't want to go back into that. I had Mayfield, Darnold, Rosen, and then Allen, but that's a completely separate topic. What's in the past is in the past. We're going to let it go, and we're going to talk about Josh Allen and Nate Peterman. So I think Bills Nation is kind of torn on who is the better starter and who is better equipped to be the starter, based off of preseason. I mean, if we're basing it off of preseason and you just look at stats, if you just look at stats, Nate Peterman is the clear-cut, leader in every category, right? With that being said, though, he's had a lot more time with the ones. OTAs, training camp, he's spent a lot more time with the ones. So he's had his share of, camaraderie with, the running backs, with the tight ends, with Kelvin Benjamin. Because if you guys saw the game yesterday, as soon as Peterman was in the game in the third quarter, Kelvin Benjamin seemed like he was a completely different player. Not saying that he wasn't giving it all, but the pass that he jumped for, why are you jumping, man? You have the wingspan of 9 feet. I mean, you have the biggest wingspan of anybody on the field. You don't need to jump for that ball. The ball's coming right to you. Just catch it. It was an over the shoulder pass, and it was right to you, and you just. So, with that being said, let's talk about Josh Allen. Okay, the stats aren't great. The 5 sacks aren't great. Everybody's saying that he holds on to the ball too long. I disagree. I disagree to an extent. He did come out and say that he held on to the ball a little bit too long, and that's him owning everything. And that's if you know Josh Allen and the character makeup of Josh Allen, that's what he does. He owns everything, and he put it on himself, and it doesn't seem like it's a fair assessment for a guy who had literally no time to throw all day long. Peterman did come in the second half and did look good, and everybody wants to compare how Peterman moved the ball in the first preseason against the ones. Well, all of Carolina's ones weren't playing. Some of them were playing, yes, but the Bills' offensive line was destroyed yesterday. I mean, it was completely dismantled. So, to judge Josh Allen on just one game playing with ones is not fair. If we want to start Nate Peterman, I think that we have to be ready to take some lumps with Peterman or with Allen, because Peterman only started 2 games, right? We all know about San Diego, and then he did play well in the Colts game until he got injured. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we have the better chance to win with Nate Peterman. I'm not going to do that. I think that we've given up way too much. We've dug in deep on the Josh Allen, 7th overall pick. We dug in. Everybody wants, to see what we have. And why are we going to wait to see what we have? Why can't we find out week to week if this kid is progressing like a rookie quarterback should progress? Now, is he going to throw interceptions? Is he going to make boneheaded plays? Is he going to misread defenses? Of course he is. But that's what he needs to do. He needs to play to understand the game better. And I feel like watching from the sideline is not going to give him the best perspective on correcting mistakes. Anything you do in life, you have to learn from. And no matter who you work for, what field you work in, what you do for a living, if you make a mistake and you're good at your job, you learn from your mistakes. If you make a mistake and you're not good at your job, you don't learn from your mistakes. That's what we have to decide. That's what McDermott and Bean have to decide. This last preseason game yesterday is going to tell a lot about Josh Allen. Why? Because he put it all on himself. That's not fair. He put it all on himself, and that's not really fair. He had no time to throw, right? So you go back to the Chargers game last year when everybody that wants to give Nate Peterman an excuse says, well, he had no time to throw. Okay, so what's the difference? The difference is Josh Allen didn't throw 5 picks in the first half. Maybe he didn't throw as many passes. He didn't have as many passes called. Whatever it is, it is. He got sacked 5 times. He didn't turn the ball over, but he got sacked 5 times. Didn't move the ball at all. Couple passes dropped. Pass by Clay. The pass by KB that was dropped. That's fine. But if I'm Sean McDermott and Brendan Bean's chirping in my ear, I'm going to be like, look, he's playing and starting preseason week 4. Okay? I don't care who he's playing against. I don't care if he's playing against the guys that collect garbage, that aren't going to be on the team next year or next week. I don't care. I don't care. He needs to play this week in preseason game 4, take his lumps if he has to, see how the offensive line holds up, and move on from there. What are we doing what are we saying about Josh Allen if we just say, okay, well, that's it, 2 quarters, we've made a full assessment of you and Nate's the guy? I mean, it's not fair. It's just not fair. I don't feel it's fair. And I still have confidence that Josh Allen will learn from this and Josh Allen will use whatever he can use from yesterday's game and move forward. I'm not bashing Nate Peterman. I'm not a Nate Peterman basher. I was one last year of many that were calling for Nate Peterman to start the season because he had a great preseason. Again, he had a great preseason like he did this year. Very similar, a little bit better pass completion percentage, but he had a really good preseason, and everybody's like, oh my God, we got to start this guy. How did we get him in the 5th round? Like, we need to start this guy. This guy's great. And he wasn't ready. Okay? If he's ready now, that's whatever. That's neither here nor there. But you have to understand, if Nate Peterman is the guy, it's concerning because I feel like we've seen the show before. I'm not knocking what he's done in preseason, and I'm not a Nate Peterman basher, but the guy can't hit sideline routes at all. And this has been brought up by numerous personalities on numerous shows, numerous pages, wherever. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but those out routes scare me because those are routes when you have a 3rd and 5, you tell your wide receivers to run out routes to the sideline. 2-minute drill. Run out routes to the sideline so we can stop the clock. Whatever it is. And he just can't get the ball there. Now, all the Nate Peterman defenders are going to say, well, let's get him in play action and let's get him to roll outside the pocket. You don't think teams are going to game plan against that knowing that he can't hit the sideline routes? So just keep that in mind when you guys push so hard for Nate Peterman. I like the guy. I mean, you have to like the guy. But I feel like everything that's invested, everything that we've given up, Bean and McDermott have said they've had a plan for 2 years, and this is the plan. If it's not Josh Allen, we need to figure that out. We need to figure it out because I don't think Peterman's the long-term answer. So I'll take some comments because I'm way behind. Rico says, how are you going to disagree with the actual player about... I didn't agree, Rico. I just said that he admitted to himself that he held on to the ball too long. But that's Josh Allen being Josh Allen because Josh Allen puts everything on his shoulders. Rico says again, not fair to judge Allen versus Bengals, but fair to judge Nate off that Chargers game. I didn't... Rico, look, last year I defended Peterman and I said that was an unfair assessment, and I just said that it was an unfair assessment. But if we're going to call a spade, why aren't people saying the same thing both ways? I mean, it goes both ways. If we're going to, be here and judge Peterman off that, then we're going to judge Josh Allen off of being sacked 5 times. That's not his fault. I said that shouldn't have been used as an assessment of Peterman. There's no double standard, man. Patrick, what's going on? Bills fan 7883, not trying to take away the futility of the offensive line. I'll get to the offensive line in a minute. I'm trying to catch up to you. Chris Bruton, what's up, man? Lucker Lloyd. All right, I'm going to catch up to you guys. Yeah, I know. McDermott's live. I know. I just saw it come across that he's live. So I'm not going to be on here forever. I'm not saying there's a double standard. I'm not saying that Peterman should be judged off of what happened last year in San Diego. Either, that I said that. I said at the beginning that we shouldn't judge either of the two guys off of the offensive line of either of the two games, and I'll move on from that. I think we're in a good position. Honestly, I think that we can either find out what we have in Josh Allen to an extent, let him take his lumps, let him move on, going forward, see what we have. If McDermott decides that he's absolutely in love with Peterman, we find out what Peterman's got, we move on, and then if it's not what, everybody wants and thinks that Peterman's the savior, then we'll find out, right? McDermott will find out, and then Allen goes in anyways. So all I know is looking at the schedule, the first 4 games, there's going to be a ton of pressure up front against the Bills' offensive line. So let's talk about the Bills' offensive line. All right, so everybody's everybody's going crazy. The sky is falling. You know, I too yesterday was extremely upset at the O line play. I've taken, you know, some time, rewatched the game, thought about it, and we have to understand that the play calling wasn't the same as it was against the Panthers. Okay, so there was definitely a different scheme there. We also have to take into account that Deion Dawkins didn't play, and they're shuffling guys trying to figure out who's gonna fit where. Okay, Ryan Groy surprisingly did not play well at all. You know, at center, the sack that Josh Allen took, I mean, Groy just got beat on a simple swim move, and it was kind of embarrassing to watch. Vlad Ducasse, we all know how everybody feels about Vlad Ducasse. He needs to go, and you need to start Wyatt Teller. I don't care. Let the kid take his lumps. Let him learn. He's not worse than Vlad Ducasse. Okay? When Dawkins gets back, maybe that's going to help some things. So I don't think the line is as bad as everybody thinks it is. Yesterday was a really bad showing, but if you remember the preseason last year, the offensive line, we were saying the same thing. Tyrod's going to get killed. Oh my God, what are we going to do? You know, we didn't have an amazing offensive line last year, but, you know, Shady had 1,100 yards. The pass protection was decent. You know, we all knew that what we were in for. We all knew that losing Eric Wood, losing Richie Incognito, and trading Cordy Glenn, it wasn't going to be as good. You know, if all three of those guys are on their game and they're starting. We all knew that. So they need to figure it out. Juan Castilla needs to, hopefully was in McDermott's office all day and all night last night and all day today, talking to him about what they're doing. Vlad Ducasse needs to go. They need to start Wyatt Teller, and they need to figure things out, because it's going to be an extremely long season for our quarterback and our running backs. We're not going to move the ball at all. You know, there's just no way to sugarcoat it. Now, yes, it's preseason. You know, we've been kind of putting a huge emphasis on preseason this year because of the quarterback battle, because of the new offensive coordinator, and things like that. But we have to hope, and we have to have faith in the fact that I think McDermott will make the proper adjustments, and hopefully that it's going to be solidifying guys to have camaraderie on the offensive line. So Fred Steck says the O-line hasn't been built for the standard quarterback. It was a Tyrod-based O-line. It's true, but we have new parts in there. I mean, Groy wasn't the starting center last year. You know, he's battling with Bodine. We got Newhouse in there. You know, you got Ducasse's moved. I mean, there's differences, and I do think that's a good comment, but that there's definitely differences. So let's move on to wide receiver play. So I am still not sold on Kelvin Benjamin. I thought that was going to be the one solid entity that we had on offense as far as receiving core, was that Kelvin Benjamin's the one. He's big, he's huge, he's a red zone target, all that stuff. But he has, other than the first game against Carolina, he hasn't really shown a lot. Okay, you have all the other moving parts. You got Zay Jones, who had a nice catch yesterday. You got Jeremy Curley. You got Corey Coleman. You got, you know, Rod Street. You got all these other moving parts. So there's still a lot to be decided there. As far as tight ends, if you guys saw it, I posted something in the group page about Charles Clay, because I still believe that is going to be a good safety valve for whichever quarterback we have under center. He hasn't had a strong camp preseason. He had a drop yesterday. That's something that was in his hands. They should have caught it. It was right in his hands. The pass was on the money. But I think that Charles Clay is going to be a lot better than everybody's anticipating him to be, on top of the fact that he has a hefty contract, and I don't think that he's going anywhere. I don't think anybody's going to want to trade for him as $9 million. We can't cut him because we take the dead cap hit, and that's what Bean's trying to get rid of. But I do think that we should not sleep on Charles Clay or Jason Kroom. Nick O'Leary better be looking. He better have some peripherals looking, because Jason Kroom's athletic, you know, former wide receiver. But so that's the tight ends. Running backs, we didn't get any LaShawn McCoy yesterday, so we've gotten extremely small sample size on him. Marcus Murphy is Marcus Murphy. If you guys have seen any of my lives, the last 3 I've done, I've been raving about him. you know, I think that he's a serviceable two if Ivory's not up to par, because Ivory's getting up there in age too. And Ivory looked okay yesterday. He didn't look great, but running backs, I think we're fine. We talked about the offensive line. We talked about quarterbacks. Defense. Okay. So I posted a poll earlier today, and it was just a simple yes or no poll. You know, are you guys concerned about the secondary, which was arguably our best asset last year, was our secondary, right? You got Micah Hyde, you got Jordan Poyer, and Trey White are the three that are back from last year. Yesterday's game, Poyer came. He looked really, really good. Trey got beat, but, you know, it was A.J. Green. So, you know, it was a great play. It was a nice pass by Dalton. Micah Hyde's Micah Hyde. He's always good. And then you have a whole slew of other guys. So I have been on the I'm not sold on Vontae Davis, you know, bandwagon for a long time. For the last 3 weeks, I was posting things in training camp saying that all the videos that you saw of, you know, Josh Allen or A.J. McCarron throwing or Peterman throwing bombs to somebody, it was always Vontae Davis getting beat. And everybody was telling me, man, it's practice. We talking about practice. So the first 3 preseason games, he's getting beat bad. He doesn't have the speed that he used to. He's getting beat bad, and it's not fun to watch, because I think when we offered him the contract, everybody, including myself, thought that he was going to be our number 2 corner. And you know, we signed Philip Gaines, and we drafted Teron Johnson, so we're trying to figure out the nickel spot, this, that, and the other thing. But yesterday's game, Philip Gaines looked better than Vontae Davis did. Granted, it was different. You know, he wasn't playing as much with the ones, but Vontae Davis was benched yesterday. So that's not good. And I know that Rico touched on it. If you guys saw, shout out to Rico. He talked about it too. Is Vontae Davis he might be a bubble guy right now. $5 million salary. I mean, he might be a bubble guy. I'm concerned that we go into week 1 against Baltimore with Trey White and Philip Gaines or Teron Johnson. Because Teron Johnson has looked better recently, but he's still a rookie, and he's still fighting for that nickel spot, right? I mean, after that, we really don't have anybody that can fill in. William Henry, what's going on, dude? Christopher Urban says, why aren't we using Corey Coleman more? I think Corey Coleman's going to take a while to catch up to the playbook because of its intricacies, and it's a stacked playbook. I think he's just trying to get acclimated with the playbook. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays a good bit in the 4th preseason game just to get more acclimated with the playbook. Sharif, what's up, dude? We need to draft a new wide receiver and O lineman next year. Yeah, that's next year. Man, Sharif's everywhere. Sharif says, man, I wish we'd given E.J. Gaines the money he wanted. Well, he got injured, so he's already on the shelf. So, all right, let's talk about the linebackers, and then we'll do the defensive line, and then I'll talk about some other stuff. I don't have too much to say about the linebackers. I mean, if you watch the game, you know, a lot of people were concerned about Milano. A lot of people were concerned about Edmonds. They played a lot better yesterday. Edmonds was around the ball more. Milano was around the ball more. And I think that the camaraderie of those two is starting to gel a little bit more. I still think that Lorenzo Alexander's a liability in coverage. And from what I've heard, they're working, since Kyle's out, they're working on him doing more nose tackle stuff, defensive tackle stuff, because that's what he used to be, a defensive tackle. So we'll see. I think we're okay. I mean, you know, Vallejo looked okay, but he was in there with the 2s and 3s. So I think we're okay there. Stanford looks all right. I mean, Ramon Humber, you know, is Ramon Humber. He's the assisted tackle guy. He's the new Preston Brown. But the defensive line, if and I don't want to beat another dead horse, and I know everybody else has been talking about this, and I've been posting things too everywhere, is if yesterday doesn't concern you, then I don't know what else would about our defensive line. This is the reason why I posted the poll about our secondary, because the secondary play is predicated on pass rush, right? So if you're not getting pass rush, that means guys have longer time to run routes, break off routes, do whatever, and it's not going to be good. I don't care who you have in your secondary. They can't cover guys for 6, 7, 8 seconds. They just can't. It's not going to happen. Especially if you're playing against quarterbacks that are extremely athletic and mobile in the pocket. They can move around outside the pocket, and if you have no pass rushers at all putting any pressure, which starts in the middle, creating, crushing space and making the quarterback have to move left or right, push up the middle through the center. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, we have Shaq's played better against the run, still doesn't have his pass rush moves down. He's got one move, and it's a bull rush, which he's working on other stuff. I got that. He looked a little bit better yesterday. But these other guys that were rotating in and out, Eddie Yarborough didn't look spectacular, but Eddie Yarborough is a workhorse, and McDermott loves him, so he'll be a part of the rotation. Jerry Hughes, I posted something about Jerry Hughes. I think that this is a guy that if we get someone opposite of him or we get help in the middle, I think Jerry Hughes can have a 10-sack season, of a few years ago, 2014. But it's all based off of the fact that who knows how long Kyle's going to be out for. Harrison Phillips is a rookie. Star Latulilae is Star Latulilae. He's, he plugs holes. He doesn't show up on stat sheets, but he makes everybody else around him better. I don't know when Trent Murphy's coming back. He's nursing a groin injury. It's been, 2.5 weeks now he's been nursing a groin injury. So, like everybody else has said, if there's a time at all to pick up the phone and call Oakland/Las Vegas, it would be right now to see what they want for Khalil Mack, because why not? I mean, everybody's seen things posted everywhere about people have been intrigued and people have been doing their due diligence and people have been making calls to see what the asking price is. I mean, make it happen. I mean, we had one of the worst pass rushes last year, which is, surprising as that just defines how good our secondary was last year, because our pass rush was non-existent all year long. Now, I know Jerry Hughes was getting double teamed. Shaq didn't play great. Yarborough was in there a lot, and he was a rookie. So, I mean, that's just a testament to our secondary last year. Now, I don't know if this year that's going to be the same thing and we're going to get the turnovers. We'll see. But it'll be interesting. So let me see what else you guys got going on here. We need offensive linemen. I agree. We need Khalil Mack. Aiden, what's up, dude? Kenny G, like the musician, you play saxophone. We need Trent badly on that D line. I agree. We need someone who can get pressure, can get past the offensive line, period, just to make the quarterback uncomfortable. I mean, it's that simple. We need somebody, whoever it is on that defensive line. I mean, if everybody was clamoring about Harrison Phillips, well, the guy's a rookie, but in college his last year he had 10 sacks and 100 tackles. So, I mean, that's not going to come right away. So that's going to be down the road. But yeah, definitely we need some more pressure schemes. I don't know if we need to start utilizing the linebackers, in more blitzing schemes, but dropping safeties, I don't know what it is, but it was preseason. A lot of people freak out about preseason. The Browns were 4-0, and then we know how that goes. So, yeah, see, Bills fan says, people second-guessing getting Davis over EJ Gaines. Gaines already injured. Buffalo Sports Talk. Thoughts on wide receiver core compared to last year? I think the Bills haven't drafted the number one guy. I honestly think that our wide receiving core last year was not as good as our receiving core this year. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, wait a minute, wait. You just complained about Kelvin Benjamin. You just complained about this, that, and the other thing. We have all these moving parts. We don't know how many receivers we're keeping, 6, 7, 8. I got that. Last year, we didn't get KB until the trade deadline. We had Jordan Matthews, who was injured. Zay Jones, who couldn't catch the flu. We had, other guys moving in and out. Andre Holmes, yada, yada, yada. So this year, we have KB the whole season. Contract year, maybe he's going to get in stride. Maybe he's going to get things worked out. We still have to figure out what we got with Corey Coleman. We got to see what we got with Zay Jones. He can't be worse than last year. I hope to God not. I really don't think he will. I think he'll be a lot better. He looks like he doesn't have the dropsies anymore. We still have Andre Holmes, Rod Streeter, Brandon Riley, Robert Foster. You got all these guys that are in there competing for positions. I think that we're in a lot better shape than we were last year. I still think that next year, though, we go after either drafting. It's a highly anticipated wide receiving class coming out next year. So I really think that there's two options. You got all that money, out there in the salary cap. Maybe you try to make a run at somebody or make a trade for somebody or something that wants money. If you guys saw Beckham, OBJ just got $20 million per year, $65 million guaranteed. Or you draft somebody in the first round if you still have your first round pick, if you don't move that, doing something else like going after Khalil Mack or something like that. People are talking about trading AJ McCarron. That's interesting. So a lot of stuff has come up about teams that have not shown interest in AJ, but teams that have shown that they don't have a competent backup quarterback. So here now we're all talking about the good situation that we're in because we have Nate and we have Josh, and some can make an argument for one, some can make an argument for another, but both I highly believe serviceable one way or the other, however you look at it. Nate coming in right now and trying to deal with this offense, or AJ taking his lumps and being the franchise, or however you want to look at it. Okay. AJ McCarron, if, the collarbone thing, if he heals, and he seems like he can throw in a week or two or even sooner or later, I feel like the Bills would field trade offers for him. I don't know what we'd get. Get the 7th round pick back that we traded for Corey Coleman. Do something, but the guy's not going to want to sit here and be a backup quarterback. That's not why he came here. He came here to compete for the starting position. He got injured, unfortunately, and it is what it is. You can't control things like that. So, yeah, Sharif brings up we definitely need to blitz more. So that's extremely interesting. So I did a little research on Sean McDermott when he was with the Panthers and when he was with the Eagles. I didn't go nuts. I didn't try to look into every game, but he, along with Leslie Frazier, don't blitz a lot. They try to keep so the front four has to get semi-decent pressure, but their offense is predicated over keeping the ball in front of the linebackers, in front of the DBs. That's what they want. Perfect example, you look at Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. They're all over the field, sideline to sideline, reading everything, adjusting before the play. Anything that was in front of them was taken care of. They were reacting to. But if you go back and look at any McDermott or Leslie Frazier defense, not a ton of sacks. Decent against the run and decent secondary and linebacking core. There wasn't a ton of guys that had double-digit sacks. There wasn't a ton of guys that had, huge Pro Bowl years. Here or there was a couple. But if you look at consistently across the board from Philly to Carolina to here last year, the defense was all predicated off of just stop the run and keep the ball in front of you. That's get to the ball as fast as possible. That's what it is. It's not necessarily blitz. Because, I think we were all spoiled in 2014, when we were, when Schwartz was just going crazy and we had Mario Williams and we had Jerry Hughes and we had 54 sacks, I believe. And that's, Kyle, I think, had 6 or 7 or 8 that year. I mean, that was the scheme, and that defense was insane. But I don't think that this defense is built to have the front four be consistent pass rushers. I think it's based off of the ends can get pressure when they can get pressure and keep the ball in front of you and stop the run. I firmly believe, looking at everything, that's why McDermott is so hell-bent on, these DBs and these linebackers, and that's how he's built his system where he's been, from Philly to Carolina to here. So, let's see. Read some more comments, guys. 35 minutes. Cool. I can stay here for a little bit. Yeah, we should trade McCarron for a decent receiver. Here's the thing, too. This is going to be the week, and you've already started to see some stuff. Some players are going to start getting traded and cut just because teams are trying to figure out what they want to do going into week 4 preseason. You don't want guys getting injured. You got undrafted free agents that could possibly take a spot of a 3rd or 4th or 5th receiver. You got offensive linemen that have been drafted that are now taking spots of veterans that maybe, a decent cap hit, so you're going to cut those guys. Defensive, linemen. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that you're going to see coming out. This is the week, because next week after preseason 4, all you do is you cut everybody, right? So, you're going to see the trades this week when, the 3rd preseason game for most teams is the hot button. It's the dress rehearsal. It's the starters playing the most, so you kind of know what you have. Rookies get a little bit more playing time if they're high draft picks. So this is going to be the week where you're going to see those trades start happening. We've already had a few today. Nothing big, but we've already had a couple, and you're going to see more. So if I'm Brandon Beane, I'm picking up the phone, and I'm seeing if there's an offensive lineman somewhere that we can bring in for competition. If there is a linebacker that's a veteran that can be brought in for the veteran presence, to help these young guys. If there's a DB that can be, if there's a DB that can be brought in to help, just kind of motivate and push these guys a little bit more. Like I said, I'm concerned about Vontae Davis. I think everybody is after watching yesterday's game. Yeah, guys, will take some more comments. Can Keith Ford make this roster? It's going to be hard. I think so, yes. I think he's a change of pace back. The 53, I don't know. Practice squad, he'd definitely make the practice squad. But then again, that puts him out there for fair game for anybody. I don't know. He seems like he's kind of hot and cold. There's times when you're like, man, look at how hard he hit that hole. And then there's times when you're like, all right, he didn't hit the hole. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to bounce that outside? You need to just barrel through the line. Like, that's what you are. You're a big running back. Because, you got Shady, you got Ivory, you got Marcus Murphy. Cadet hasn't impressed, I don't think, anybody. Tywan Jones, I don't think, has impressed anybody. So, maybe. I'm going to try to catch up to you guys. I'm way behind. Yeah, so if you guys saw that about Chance Warmack of the Eagles, he's apparently, on the trading block. Here's the thing about Chance Warmack, though, is when he was with Tennessee, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So either that's bad on Tennessee's for not doing their due diligence and thinking that they could work with him to get him his 5th-year option because he's a high draft pick, or maybe they just wanted to go in a different direction. Now, if you guys know anything about him, he's the first ever NFL player to get an insurance policy guaranteed and got paid out for it because of his low-end contract that he got with the Eagles. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, if I'm McDermott, I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling anybody that's willing to listen about, hey, you got this guy, I'm willing to open up the competition a little bit more. It's iffy too, right? because I think that, and I know a lot of other people that I've talked to, and we've had discussions in our group chat about camaraderie with offensive linemen. I mean, that's a group, that's a unit. Offensive and defensive lines obviously need to feed off each other and work together. So, 1 week you got one guy starting, then the next week you got somebody else starting, and then the next week you go back to the other guy, and then during the week in practice you're shuffling people in and out. So these guys need to feed off of each other because they each make the other guy better. I'm a firm believer of, everybody will say that the game's won on the offensive and defensive line. The offensive and defensive line is where the game is won. No doubt. 100%, that's it. So if you have a center playing 1 week and a guard playing or a tackle, and that whole side, the whole right side is different the following week, there's no camaraderie. You know what he's doing. You know that, well, I have to help double that guy. Or you know what's going on over here. You know that he might need help because that's their star pass rusher and I'm going to need to help. Whatever it is. They need some camaraderie. So do I think we need to bring somebody new in? Of course. But then on the other end of it, you're now shifting more parts in there. So, hey, John Miller, you need to get your shit together. You're beasting out all posting videos on IG, you looking like a friggin' huge brick wall and how you're getting in shape. Jordan Mills, get your shit together, okay? Ryan Groy, you got destroyed on a swim move that was the most basic move yesterday. You right past you. You felt the breeze right past you. I think Dawkins will be okay. Ducasse, whatever. I'm not even going to go into that. Wyatt Teller needs to get reps with ones, and we got to see what we got. Everybody says he's a project, but we need to see what we have with that. So, moving on. Yeah, so Jarek Hall, what's up, dude? Brings up a good point. McDermott has to get better at game management. All right, so that's kind of a tough subject for a lot of people. I don't shy away from that, but that's kind of a touchy subject because he's McDermott and he's supposed to be like, have the smartest brain and he's meticulous and this, that, and the other thing. But it popped up last year and we all kind of were like, well, he's a rookie head coach. Maybe we cut him some slack. It happened again and it happened again. So then, yesterday, why aren't you challenging that play? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he just is not confident in the fact that he's going to make the wrong call. But, dude, you got to take a chance. I mean, so what if you throw a flag and it's overturned and you lose a penalty? Who cares? At least you're showing that you're trying, right? I mean, some of the play calling was, 3rd and 8 and you're calling a draw play. Everybody knew that was coming. Some of the stuff you need to get your offensive coordinator. That's why I think that the game plan yesterday was completely different than the Carolina game. I feel like the game plan for Cleveland was different than the Carolina game. I don't know if someone told Dable that he needs to shut that shit down and not show everybody what we're doing. But even when Nate was in there, it wasn't as vanilla, but it was still vanilla. I don't know. But that's on McDermott. I mean, ultimately that's on McDermott. And, I'm not a guy that's going to sit here and post things about trusting the process and stuff like that. Process was cool, like January of last year or whenever we hired McDermott last year. But, it was new. It was fresh. It was like, oh my gosh. And now it's like, I'm sick of hearing about trust the process. Like, we know a process is a process. It's work. It's, things in motion. We get it. But I don't think as Bills fans we ever need to feel bad about questioning our head coach. I don't. Now, did we cut him some slack last year? Yes. Do we need to cut him some slack this year? Maybe a little bit. But, some of the things that they're doing, like the quarterback battle has been kind of questionable. I guess we had 3 decent options, now 2. So, Ducasse no longer part of this team. I think they are not showing their hand. Tina McCleary. What's up, Tina? What's up, Isaiah? That's what I just said. I don't think that they're showing their hand. So I'm trying to keep up with your guys' comments. They're flying through here. So, yeah, Peterman it is. So there we go. So all right, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna go watch McDermott's press conference. Just wanted to come on here. I'm gonna come back here in a couple days. I'm gonna do these all the time. This is for you guys, the fanatics. I mean, I love coming on here, just being able to talk about the Bills. You guys may or may not like my opinion. I respect everybody's opinion, and I just am thankful to get the chance to talk to you guys about it. If you guys want to drop comments in there, drop comments in there. I'll try to get to them when I get done here. I'll try to respond to everybody as possible. I'm going to try to get back here Thursday or Friday. I got a cool announcement coming for you guys, something that I'm going to personally do for the Fanatics, all the Buffalo Fanatics followers. If it's IG, if it's Twitter, if it's you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, if you guys are on, if you guys like the Facebook page and you follow the Facebook page, if you guys aren't already a member of the Buffalo Fanatics group, send in a request. There's a couple questions you guys got to answer, and we'll get you a part of that. There's cool things that get posted in there for members only. It's a closed group, but it's real cool. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in there. The YouTube channel went over 4K, so I mean that's a huge tribute to you guys liking the content that we're putting out, because you may or may not agree with us all the time, but we're here to talk about the Bills, and we're here to give you guys some interaction and things like that. So make sure you guys like anything you see in here, comments from anybody else, like anything I have to say. If you like anything I have to say, make sure you guys definitely share this so that we can spread the word. I'm pretty pumped up that the season's here. I'll definitely go live before the next preseason game as soon as some other stuff happens this week, because I think we're in for kind of a week where some things might start happening. If you've seen McDermott's, I'm getting all kinds of alerts about McDermott's press conference, so I'm going to go watch that. I don't want to speak on it yet. But from Buffalo Fanatics, I got to give a shout-out to my boy A. Rich and my Trendsetters brother, Kingpin Pierre, Bobby B for everything he does with IG. If you guys aren't following Fanatics on IG, it's the most followed Buffalo Bills besides the actual Buffalo Bills official Instagram page. It's the most followed, and it's got the best content. It's not even close. Subscribe here if you guys like what you see here. Subscribe, like I said. We're always doing giveaways for the Fanatics, and we're always here to show love. So that's me.